This video will give you a better understanding of why you procrastinate and teach you how to fix it. And it's going to do all of that through the tale of Panicking Alan. This is Panicking Alan. He's got an assignment due in tomorrow and he is completely screwed. He has known about this essay for weeks, but has kept putting it off, saying that he has more time to do it tomorrow. Each day he tricked himself by thinking that he'll be more in the mood to work on it later, but he knows that's a lie. In reality, Alan knew that this would happen from the start. It's how he's approached every task and every assignment in every avenue of his life. He wants to go to the gym, but never got started. He wanted to play guitar, but he never practiced, and he messed up his first public performance so badly that he can't bear to go back to it. He's been saying he'd write a novel for years now, but he's never got round to it. If Alan does not change something fast, it will soon be too late, and he'll fail all his exams, drop out of university, and never achieve his dream of becoming a writer. But what made Alan such a procrastinator? For that, we need to look at his childhood.
Father, I've written you a story.
Alan, this is terrible. You're a moron, and I'm sending you to work in the mines. You see, Alan's childhood gave him a feeling of inadequacy he's never quite been able to shake. Whenever he presented something to his parents or his teachers at school, they would mercilessly put him down for even the slightest imperfection. This left Alan with twin neuroses that are anathema to productivity: perfectionism and low self-esteem. As a result, whenever he sits down to work on something, he feels a deep fear gripping his heart. He thinks that anything less than perfection reflects badly on him as a person, and his low confidence assures him that he will never produce anything of quality anyway. For God's sake, Alan, if you don't manage to get this done tonight, that will be another piece of work handed in late. You always manage to make a mess of things. What is even the point of continuing to try? You know the essay will be crap even if you finish it. You left it too late. Again. I don't know why anyone even likes you, you snivelling pile of horse excrement. Alan is labouring under the delusion that this vicious inner voice is motivating him, keeping him sharp. In fact, all it's doing is ensuring that he will avoid work like the plague. Alan will do anything to make sure that this vile inner monologue that hits him every time he tries to work remains silent. And subconsciously, he thinks the only way to do that is to avoid work altogether. Even when he hauls himself to his desk, he makes endless cups of tea to give himself breaks from this self-hating diatribe. And who can blame him? He views his procrastination as an intense personal failing. But he doesn't realise that this sense of failure is precisely what's keeping him from his work. Alan knows that he can't keep on with this pattern, so he tries a different tactic, one that will help him conquer his self-defeating attitude. He begins by noting down the key things he tends to procrastinate on. The most obvious one is work, but he also writes down exercise and writing. He then notes down the emotions he feels when he attempts to start these activities. He writes down fear, despair, and self-hatred. A fun cocktail that he's only now beginning to recognise. This is his first step to overcoming procrastination: knowing himself. Alan is beginning to understand that his procrastination comes from a very human desire to avoid discomfort. He is not uniquely terrible, and there is no mystical force preventing him from working. Instead, he's doing what most people spend their entire lives doing: running away from what feels bad. Each time he procrastinates, he gets a temporary reward. The relief that comes from not having to do that task right now. But that only reinforces the procrastinating behaviour. Avoiding pain is a great instinct when you're running from a tiger and making sure that you don't starve to death. But in our modern age where you need to delay gratification to succeed, Alan needs to somehow overcome this urge. The next time Alan sits down to work, he immediately feels fear. Fear that his work, and by extension, he himself, will not be good enough. At first, this pulls him up short, but then he remembers that his discomfort is stemming from a false assumption. The quality of his work is not the sole pillar that his value as a person rests upon. Perfection is an unreasonable expectation to have of himself, and he may find that he's better at his work than he initially thought. So he makes the bold decision to start and just see where his work takes him. This is key to him solving his procrastination issue. He does not need to finish the whole task all at once, he just needs to begin. And once he's got going, he realises that the job wasn't even that scary. He begins the preliminary research for his next assignment and writes down a few sentences of his first draft. He will almost certainly revise those sentences later, but the important thing was just to get started. He ends the day with a note of pride, knowing that he has made a dent in his workload. More importantly, he has proved himself that work is not inherently terrifying. This cycle, recognising discomfort, getting started on a small chunk of the task and realising that the task is not so painful after all, soon builds momentum for Alan. Before long, his resistance to working has pretty much vanished, and his procrastination woes are almost behind him. He still has moments of struggling, like we all do, but he doesn't have the chronic habit of procrastination that almost made him fail his degree. He, for all intents and purposes, has beaten procrastination, and you can do it too. Subscribe for more on thinking to improve your life.